What's going on, family? Let's make sure we're on. Let's make sure we're live. I'm waiting for that little thing on the side. Cool. What's going on, family? It's Brother Coasty at IALLG. Today we have a very, very short topic, and it's all about why you should tell your story. Right? A lot of the times, the society that we're in, the environments that we're in, the pressure that we perceive to be on us will cause us to omit certain information. We get wrapped up in the day-to-day routine, and what this does is it doesn't allow us honesty. Honesty is key, right? You have to learn to be honest, and you must act out of honesty, right? For example, most times when you're interacting with somebody or you're walking around, and if you're a social person and or somebody's being social with you and they say, "Hey, how you doing?" Our knee-jerk reaction is often to say, "I'm good." And we go on about our day, even though sometimes we might be fighting a battle on the inside. And look, I know some people might say things like, you know, not everybody needs to know your story, blah, 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 blah. Look, family, we're here to connect with people. It's not about unloading your baggage on people sometimes. It's just about being honest when people ask a question. It's about being honest and walking in that authenticity, because you never know who you're actually speaking to. A lot of the times what we're giving to other people is what we want ourselves, right? So a lot of people that go out and give a lot of love and they give a lot of ears, you know, the overgivers. If you're an empath listening to this, or you're an empath watching this, you know good and dang well that you're always the ear for everybody else. But when it comes time for you to speak, typically and usually nobody's there for you, or you're having to carry your load on your own, right? And I want you to just see that pattern and recognize when it comes time for you, or the opportunity presents itself for you to be listened to, take it. Take it. And sometimes people are waiting on you to tell your story because it gives them permission to tell theirs. It builds a bridge. It makes a connection for them to share their story. It allows that relatability amongst people. We live in a social media world where everybody is perfect, right? There's no flaws. There's no hiccups. I'm living my best life. Let's be real. Most people are lying. When you are the person that says, you know, today is actually not a good day for me, today is not the greatest day in the world for me, it allows people to let down that wall, to crack out of this perfection state, and to be real again, to tap back into self again, to be like, you know what, dang, that's rough. We build human connections. I'm not telling you to trauma bond with people, but yo, we all struggle. Like, we are all struggling. It doesn't matter if you are on your spiritual journey and you're at a certain level. I guarantee you, especially at the higher levels, you still struggle. The struggle is often harder. It's more strong, right? Because, you know, they say the higher you rise, the lower you can fall. When you allow yourself to be how you are, see, I'm not telling you to allow your temporary feeling or the emotion you're doing to dictate what you're doing, but I am saying being honest, honor it and express it, especially when somebody asks you, you know, hey, how are you doing today? Today's rough. Today's a rough day. I'm not doing so hot. It's okay to not be perfect, because guess what, bro? People love people don't like perfect. Like, we all strive to be perfect, but let me ask you this question. Have you ever went to your friend's house and look at the difference between not being perfect and just being, you know, apathetic? But have you ever gone to your friend's house and, you know, they may have a few clothes on the ground and they say, "Oh, I'm so sorry about the mess." And you're like, "Yo, it's not a big deal." That's the same way. That's the same kind of reception we can get when we're honest with each other. "Yo, how you doing today?" I'm sorry. It's a decent day. Like, it kind of sucks, but, you know, I'm making it through. "Yo, what's happening?" Right? When you when you get over this facade of needing to be perfect and need to facilitate this perfect identity, you connect with people on a deeper level. People like to know that they're not talking to a saint. People like to know that they're not talking to a perfect person, right? Most people are living in the paradigm of comparison, right? If you talk to somebody who's living a perfect life, the ideal life, and they don't have any hiccups, you're reluctant to just be open and honest with them, right? You tend to try to posture. And look, I'm not saying that everybody does it, but we can be frank. We can observe it, especially if you're a seer, especially if you're spiritually in tune and spiritually inclined. You can tell when somebody's putting up a BS, and a lot of the times it's intimidation. When you put on this perfect perception of yourself, people get intimidated. You don't get the connection. And some people might say things like, well, that's not me, that's them. Yes, it's them. But look, if our job is to connect with people, we have to meet people where they are. We have to be honest with ourselves and with people. I'm fine saying I'm not having the best day. I'm not gonna let that like bring me down all the way, but I'm cool being like, yeah, my day's it's a little rough. It's a little rough. But look, family, if you can get over that, if you can learn how to move through it, if you can learn how to communicate that and just be a human with people, or at least, you know, look, I know a lot of the spiritual people in here like, oh, I'm not a human. I'm having a human experience. And yes, you're having a human experience. Have one. Have a human experience. Stop trying to act holier now. Stop trying to act like emotions and feelings don't exist. Stop pretending. Embrace. That's why you should tell your story. You need to embrace who and what you are, because your story will allow somebody to embrace their story more. When you embrace your story, you live in your authenticity, you help people live in their authenticity. You become the role model, the true role model, not the phony, not the impersonator. You're not propagating this BS of perfection, right? It's always progress. Nature makes things perfectly imperfect. I forgot who I listened to or who I learned this from, but nature doesn't make straight lines apparently, right? Like when I started thinking about that, I was like, I guess that's right. Like even grass isn't straight, you know. Like look at our lines on our fingers. Like even these aren't straight. Right? So nature doesn't make straight lines, right? So nothing in nature is perfect, but it's perfectly imperfect because it is what it is. You have to accept you are who you are. The ups and the downs, the goods and the bad, they are all the makeup of your story. Just like there's light and darkness. Darkness has a purpose. Light has a purpose. Together they make the whole. They make life. And so your story is part of just that, your story. Stop just highlighting the good stuff. Underline the bad. I promise you, sometimes that bad stuff helps you get to the good stuff. Sometimes that bad stuff opens up doors that good things can't get you, right? If your plate is full, you can't take any more. But when you say like, look, my cup is empty a little bit. Look, my plate is a little empty. You never know, somebody might go and dump it on there. You never know who you can commune with when you're being honest and open and you're actually embracing this human experience. Look, yes, we're meant to transcend the human experience. We're meant to move beyond it, but look, you can't move beyond anything if you don't first accept what it is. You can't move beyond anything if you pretend that it doesn't exist. It exists. It's real. Deal with it by accepting it, being honest about it. I'm not going to keep beating a dead horse, family. That's why you should tell your story. That's why it's important to be transparent. That's why it's important to just be open and honest, family. We're all having a human experience. We're all struggling in some capacity. We can all use help. We all fall short. Sometimes we all need a helping hand to get back up. Family, look, that doesn't always mean money. Sometimes it's just an ear. Sometimes it's just to be seen. Sometimes it's a high five. Sometimes it's a smile. Sometimes it's a like on your comment. It's not a bad thing, family, to just be real. It's not a bad thing. In fact, it's healthy, and it's unhealthy when you pretend that it doesn't exist and you only highlight the good. Because that's what, when you only highlight the good, when you're going through bad, you typically get very, very depressed, right? Because you're only used to acknowledging the good. And look, just like the good and the bad, it's all relative, and sometimes it ain't there. Everything ain't always sunshine and rainbow. Sometimes it's storms in a cloudy day. That has a purpose too. Family, tell your story. Be real. Be you. I love y'all. Peace.